Good evening, brothers and sisters. This is Brother Yachten coming to you from Bruise Studio and News, Israelite Radio Network. I'd like to say hello to everyone. Hope everyone is doing good and feeling good. Hope everyone is prayed up and blessed up. I would like to thank you again, everyone who is joining me, and I'm gonna talk about a couple things. One, the 42 laws of Mott, and I'm gonna compare them to the Ten Commandments in the Old Testament and the Ten Commandments in the New Testament. So I'm gonna start off right here. Now, the 42 laws of Mott. These are the Egyptian texts, writings, that were discovered, in the pyramids, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, Book of Better Days, coffin texts, they were discovered, and they were laws and commandments that the ancient Egyptians went by. These were their laws, what they believed in. These were, what their tribes, their nation, what they kept. Just like the Ten Commandments, they are kept by Christianity. And other religious people that call themselves religious, that keep the Ten Commandments as well, like different other groups, street teachers, like the Hebrews, Israelites, um, the overseas in the Middle East, you got different religious groups that keep the Ten Commandments and through Christianity faith, Now, I would like to say, dealing with the 42 laws of Mott, I've noticed that the Ten Commandments are in the laws of Mott, and the laws of Mott, starting at number 1, it says, I will not do wrong. I will not steal. I will not act with violence. I will not kill. I will not be unjust. I will not cause pain. I will not waste food. I will not lie. I will not desecrate holy places. I will not speak evil. I will not abuse my sexuality. I will not cause the shedding of tears. I will not sow seeds of regret. I will not be an aggressor. I will not act gullible. I will not lay waste the plowed land. I will not bear false witness. I will not speak against any person. I will not be wrathful and angry. I will not lay with a man's wife. I will not lay with a woman's husband. I will not pollute myself. I will not cause terror. I will not pollute the earth. I will not speak in anger. I will not turn from words of truth. I will not utter curses. I will not initiate a quarrel. I will not excitable or continuous. I will not be prejudiced. I will not be eavesdropper. I will not speak overmuch. I will not act against my ancestors. I will not waste water. I will not do evil. I will not be arrogant. I will not blaspheme the Most High. I will not commit fraud. I will not defraud temple offerings. I will not plunder the dead. I will not mistreat children. I will not mistreat animals. Now, those are the laws of Mott, and if you're listening, you can pretty much hear the ones that are in the Ten Commandments. And those are laws that was taken out of the laws of Mott, because the laws of Mott was written thousands and thousands of years before they was put into the Holy Bible. So therefore, at the beginning of the Christian era, somehow, if they got them through, you know, when a lot of countries went to war and wars broke out, a lot of people conquered and got a lot of material from winning the wars, That was part of defeat, and conquering. And so that would, you know, how the laws got shifted from the ancient Egyptians, the laws of Mot, who were the ancient Egyptians. And when the ancient Egyptians lost their rulership, they lost everything. They pretty much faded out. You don't really hear too much about them, because the last recording in the Bible, when they were after Moses, they when the Red Sea was parted, the Most High opened it up, and when Moses helped free his people, when they got through, the Most High shut the sea, closed it back on them, and the ancient Egyptians were destroyed, through that. So saying that, that is what the Holy Bible reads about the ancient Egyptians, how they were defeated when Moses helped free his people. Now, dealing with the ancient Egyptians, they studied and they learned, about science and different other things, math, alphabets and different things in their language, and they studied afterlife. They was preparing their people when they would die for the afterlife, meaning the transformation from living in the flesh to living in the spirit, and waiting for your spirit to meet another ancient deity, and they would come and gather them and take them to heaven. And that's in the ancient Egyptian books. You can read those and learn it, and I'm going to go over here to the Ten Commandments. And the Ten Commandments in the Old Testament, right here to the left, it says, "You shall have no other gods before me. Do not make for yourselves objects of worship. You shall not misuse the name of the Lord your God. Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. Honor your father and your mother. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor, and you shall not covet anything that belongs to your neighbor." Now, just here to the right, I'm going to read the commandments in the New Testament. Now it says, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. Dear children, keep yourself from idols. Do not swear, not by heaven or by earth or by anything else not commanded." The fourth, "Honor your father and your mother. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not give false testimony. Put to death, therefore, whatever belongs to your earthly nature: sexual immorality, impurity, lust, evil desires, and greed, which is idolatry." Now back up here to number 4, where in the Old Testament it says, "Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy." But in the New Testament, it says it is not commanded. And the reason it was not commanded, it was removed from the Old Testament. I'm sorry, it was removed from the New Testament. And the book of Galatians, and Apostle Paul, he talks about it being missing, and this is what it says about the missing commandment on this page that I found. It says, there is no command in the New Testament to observe any Sabbath days. All of the other commandments are repeated, but not that one. Why? Because unlike others, there is no longer any need for a Sabbath. The Sabbath was instituted as a remembrance of God's work in Genesis and pointed to God's work of dying and on the cross for sins of the world. The Sabbath was a shadow of a coming reality, and that reality has come. Here's how the Apostle Paul explained it. Now, the missing commandment, what I just read, that was the commentary for Apostle Paul, and this is what Paul says about the Sabbath, the law. It says, before the coming of this faith, we are held in custody under the law, locked up until the faith that was to come would be revealed. So the law was our guardian until Christ came that we might be justified by faith. Now that this faith has come, we are no longer under a guardian. And that's in Galatians chapter 3, 23 and 25. Now, in other translation, right there where it says guardian, it says we are no longer under the old schoolmaster. And the old schoolmaster would be the Most High, because he wrote the Ten Commandments with his finger, according to the Holy Bible. He wrote the commandments with his finger and gave them to Moses on top of the mountain. And Moses came off the mountain and taught them to his people. Now, if Paul is telling you the laws are obsolete, they are no one can live by them, or you have to live in them, maybe that's why the book of James said that Paul's writings is hard to understand and unlearned. So, maybe James was trying to say that, he didn't believe in that, And me personally, I don't think the laws are done away with. And the reason I don't believe that, because the Most High, the Creator that created everything, he makes no mistakes. He is perfect. He is everything. He is the beginning and the last. And he's going to come and judge. And that's why in the book of Revelation, it says in the last book, anyone that add or take away to this word that is in this book, he shall take you out of the book of life. Meaning that you're not coming to the kingdom of heaven on judgment day. You're going to be going to the lake of fire. And taking his laws out of his commandments is taking words and understanding from this book. It's in Revelation, the last chapter. You can read it, and it tells you not to do that. But it does say that, and I just want to share it with you, because I was reading, comparing them all a lot, compared to the Ten Commandments in the Old and New Testament. Now, I believe that the Ten Commandments were taken from the ancient Egyptians, because they had written their laws and commandments, like I said earlier, thousands of years, a lot of thousand years before they was even put in the Holy Bible, Christianity Bible. So therefore, if they was put in the ancient the ancient Egyptian texts, that would mean that the ancient Egyptians had the law first. And saying that, they got and when the ancient Egyptians were conquered, they lost them. So therefore, they lost them through being conquered. And saying that, I would like to thank everyone for joining me, and thank everyone for being here once again. And hopefully we'll get together tomorrow. If not, we'll get together the next day and with another lesson, and or just have a good positive conversation, and let's just share some wisdom and knowledge with one another. And I would like to, saying that, I would like to say, hallelujah.